Hello and welcome back. Consent. We have spoken a lot about it, a lot of videos on it, even a complete course on consent management. But just a relook at when we are talking about the DPDP, how things work in practice, let's talk about even consent in practice. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on data privacy. And in this video, we are talking about consent in real practice, what works and what fails. So why consents feel easy? Consents feel easy because they look as the safest option. You don't need to cross check anything, nothing. Just put up a consent form. Let people decide what they want to do with their data and move on. Right? Feels very user friendly and compliant. The only issue is that first you need to be prepared for how to take consent and ensure that you provide sufficient information on consent through privacy notice, withdrawal options, and follow the complete consent practices. Teams assume that more consent means more protection. Not necessarily true. Operational reality can be different. There's a whole lot of exercise that you have to do even to obtain the consent itself. Consent is for making an absolute choice, for allowing your user or your principal to make an absolute choice of how does he want to handle his personal information. Typically, it works very well only in cases where you allow principal to refuse at the time of giving the consent itself. You allow principal to withdraw his consent as easily as he is required to give the consent, and the purpose of the consent is very narrow and very clear. User is able to understand why you need the consent. Consent must reflect reality and not assumptions. When consent works well in real life, in practice, it works well when it's an optional processing in the sense that user is allowed to say, I don't want it. It's a secondary use of data. Marketing, preferences, analyticals, all these things that you have to do, you should take consent. You cannot do marketing on personal information where you are not allowed to. You cannot analyze, run analytic algorithms until you have taken consent of the respective principals, either whether they want to participate or not. And when refusal does no harm to the data principal, even if he refuses, does not mean that he stops getting services or he starts getting into some other entanglements. And it fails quietly if it is not a free and informed consent. If the purpose is not very well defined or the purpose is not even explained properly, so you have to have privacy notices. We'll talk about privacy notices in practice also in the next video. Consent forms are not well designed. Ambiguous language, again, notice not around the thing. Options like I agree, you put in 10 points and give one option of I agree. I mean, user can cancel, but he cannot choose granularly. Or you put out recheck boxes, and by default, the user ends up making a mistake. And consent is taken once, but reused forever, and also for other purposes. Consent is not the starting point of DPDP compliance. Before you take the consent, it is important for you to define the purpose properly. How would you define the purpose? When you know how the data is flowing. So first you will have to understand the data flow, define your purpose, explain your purpose, create a good privacy notice, give a reason, document a reason why lawful processing does not need to be done here or cannot be done here, and then you use consent as a tool, not as a strategy. Right? So don't think that the consent is the main portion and the only portion or the starting point. It's one of the very important pillars, no doubt about it, but there are several things around it and several things that are required to be done to enable consent. It has a clear link with the privacy policies and privacy notices. I hope you like the content of the video. If you want more details on how to create consent forms, you can log into Udemy. I have a course over there. I'll put the link in the description of this video also. You can go on Kindle, and I have my book over there available for Data Privacy Simplified. And if you have direct questions, you can put it in the feedback here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.